Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing a crazy run that I had in the Jungle Cup above Legend Elo with a Legacy Hydreigon. Now, at the start of this season, Hydreigon did get some pretty big reworks with the rework to Dragon Pulse and Dragon Breath. Now, people really didn't expect Dragon Pulse on Hydreigon, and I was able to land it a couple times. Now, it goes without saying, Hydreigon, it's a pick for fun, it's not for climbing. The real star of the show on this team was Shadow Water Gun Quagsire, which is just an absolute terror in this meta. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and let's go Hydreigon. Hopping into the first match, we're picking up a pretty nice lead, leading our shiny Hydreigon into the Charizard. Well, it's a nice lead because they are not running Dragon Breath, they are running Ember. Air Cutter is going to be no shielded opponent, safe switches into Gastrodon, and now it's time. Let's get some damage. Dragon Pulse from the Hydreigon is going to be inflicting big damage onto that Gastrodon, and now I send out Quagsire. Here, my opponent should always go for the double body slam as they can guarantee some damage, but they make a critical error. They end up going for the Water Pulse. That allows me to fully farm down and exit with a ton of energy. In comes a Drapion, and oh my goodness, my opponent was not prepared for the Water Gun Quagsire whatsoever. On top of that, they're extremely weak to Hydreigon as well. Aqua Tail number 2 is going to be getting the shield, and they will finally fire off the Aqua Tail. At this point, the Hydreigon is pretty low, it's already taken a lot of damage, so the best use of Hydreigon will be as a third shield to absorb this Aqua Tail damage. Now my plan here is pretty simple. Wait down the switch timer, and then send in Clodsire. Clodsire will instantly be answered with the Shadow Charizard, but by me getting the catch and waiting the timer, our switch timers are too misaligned. My opponent's fate is sealed. They throw the Blast Burn, that's not going to do nearly enough damage. I can throw the Stone Edge, and then go for the combo play with the Aqua Tail on Quagsire. So Quagsire will easily be able to take the knockout. All that's left in the back is the low health Shadow Drapion. Quag farms down, and that's a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Hydreigon into Guzzlord. Normally, this would be a pretty awful matchup for the Hydreigon, as typically you'd run Brutal Swing and Flash Cannon. But guess what, Guzzlord? I'm not running Flash Cannon. Do they respect the damage? They do not! That's a full one-hit KO, and out comes Dunsparce. I want to land some damage onto this Dunsparce before they're able to knock me out with the Drill Run, so I throw the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing plus the Dragon Breath have already chewed through half of this Dunsparce's HP. Dunsparce takes the knockout, throwing the Rock Slide to cover for a catch. In comes the Water Gun Quagsire, and I'll never know what they had in the back because my opponent immediately resigned the match. Hopping into the next match, leading Hydreigon into Fearow. And one thing to note about this matchup, even though Peck is a great fast move, Hydreigon is taking these Pecks very well. Meanwhile, these Dragon Breaths are adding up quite significantly. Add to that the fact that I outpaced the Fearow, and things are looking pretty good. My opponent, however, is going to make a very nice catch onto Diggersby. I'm going to look to rebank energy on Hydreigon, I farm up just shy of the Brutal Swing, and send out the Quagsire. I'm always just going to be over-farming a ton here and then CMP tying to their next Scorching Sands. My opponent actually bails. They do not commit to the Scorching Sands, but instead will go for the Fire Punch. This does do a little bit of chip damage, but means that I can so massively over-farm with Shadow Quagsire. So I'll farm up till right before the next Fire Punch, take the knockout, and exit with an entire charge attack loaded. In the back is Lantern, and things are looking pretty good. Stone Edge connecting is very valuable chip damage. I build up to the Dragon Pulse, and I will bait with the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing is actually no shielded, and my opponent's going to be bringing out the Fearow. Fearow is going to look for a one shield Peck down, but they're losing a lot of HP along the way. They are now deep into the red health. I do still have a shield, but Poison Sting is not going to hit very hard. So I bring in the Clodsire. I wanted to do one in the catch, but my switch timer was not yet available. There is going to be the Drill Run. They should make a Drill Run right here, so we're going to get a catch onto the Quagsire. Quagsire able to absorb that Drill Run, and now when they bring back in the Lantern, Lantern just simply cannot do enough damage to win this game. As Lantern, Surf will not knock out. I could have thrown the Stone Edge, but if we have the Earthquake, we may as well throw it. Earthquake lands, taking down the Lantern. We farm down Fearow as well, and take the win. We've got an absolute disaster of a lead in the next match, Hydreigon into Galarian Weezing. I save switch into the Water Gun Quagsire, and out comes Altaria. This is a matchup where being Water Gun actually does improve the matchup for the Quagsire. Stone Edge is going to be shielded, but the Water Guns actually farm it into Stone Edge range. I think maybe in hindsight I should have gone for an Aqua Tail bait, because if you do, you can actually no shield the Sky Attack and make a Stone Edge. So if I had thrown these charge attacks in the reverse order, then I could have got 2 shields instead of only getting 1. In comes Hydreigon. Hydreigon will take quite a bit of damage from Sky Attack. My opponent gets aggressive, they pivot into a Bug Bite Fortress, and this is quite scary. I make the Brutal Swing to hopefully put them in Earthquake range. That should be Earthquake range, and now out comes the Clodsire. Clodsire is going to have to do so much work if it wants to win this game. My opponent throws a Rock Tomb, and that's honestly such a smart Rock Tomb from them, because now my Earthquake will not knock out. I fire off the Earthquake anyway, hoping that I can Poison Sting down after, but I am unable to do so. Quick switch by my opponent into Altaria. I go for the Stone Edge, but unfortunately I will lose charge attack priority. A bit of a miscount by me, but I put up the shield because I'm going to need the health on the Clodsire. I go for an undercharge on the Stone Edge. They're going to be shielding right back. I'm just looking to farm up energy with the Clodsire, the switch into Hydreigon, and maybe there is a chance. Altaria takes the knockout onto Hydreigon, back in comes the Clodsire farming to 100, and this will be game over for the Altaria. The bad news is, there's still a Fortress and a Galarian Weezing. In comes Fortress, throwing the Sand Tomb, and I have to save the shield for the Brutal Swing. I farm up, watching for the catch. There's the switch into the Weezing, and I'm able to hold on to my energy and fire off the correct move. Earthquake lands, Weezing holds on, and I have to respect the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing would knock out. My opponent reveals their Sludge Overheat. It's going to be a race to the finish, and somehow, against all odds, Clodsire 1v3s, taking down a Fortress, a Weezing, and an Altaria to secure that win. We move to the next match, leading Hydreigon into Shadow Gyarados, the battle of the Dragon Breath users. Gyarados is going to be making it to the Aqua Tail when I make it to the Brutal Swing. Now the big thing for Hydreigon is going to be resisting both Aqua Tail and Crunch. Hydreigon probably still going to get knocked out here by an Aqua Tail, so I will put up the shield. Opponents taking no chances, firing off their Crunch, and then catching onto Quagsire. They are actually on Mudshot Quagsire, and as I mentioned at the start, I do believe that Water Gun Quagsire is the way to go. Now I can just throw 7 Water Guns and the move, and I will be able to outpace, and I try and do so, but I don't know if the game stuttered or if it was operator error, but I end up playing to a CMP tie that I do not win. I know my Quagsire is not going to be winning CMP ties, so I really did not want to play to that CMP tie. It turns out they had a Abomasnow in the back, so it was going to be a tough game regardless, but man, if I didn't have to go down that shield, it still would have been a really tough battle. But if I wasn't down a shield, I think there still would have been a chance for me to win. Whereas unfortunately, this is going to be one of the 2 losses that this team suffered. This team went 8-2 back-to-back 4-1 sets, and unfortunately this was one of the losses, as Gyarados is going to combo play us with the Aqua Tail to take the knockout. I'm not going to waste anyone's time, and I will resign the match. Hydreigon into Galvantula in the next match. A pretty spicy pick. Oh my goodness, I was expecting Volt Switch, but that is a Fury Cutter Galvantula. Fury Cutters honestly not doing as much to Hydreigon as I would expect. Hydreigon is somehow taking these Fury Cutters pretty well. Hydreigon going to be hit with what's almost guaranteed to be a lunge, but I'm pretty confident that even at -1, Galvantula is not going to survive this Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing forces the final shield, in comes Water Gun Quagsire, and look at the Water Guns go. I'm going to be no shielding Lunge, as Lunge would do quite a bit of damage, and now out comes Dartrix. Dartrix can look for a 0 shield farm down. They don't have a shield to hide behind, but because of the debuff, they can actually survive the Stone Edge. So Dartrix will get the full farm down, and I'm going to have to sacrifice Hydreigon. Hydreigon will get knocked out by a Seed Bomb, but it's important that my Clodsire only gets hit with 1 move. This way I can put up the shield, and I have to hope that Clodsire is good against what they have in the back. They go for the Brave Bird, it's the only charge attack they're getting to, and oh my goodness, they have a Shadow Lugia in the back. My opponent absolutely emptying the Spice Cabinet. Lugia will take big damage from Stone Edge. The question is, how well do I survive an Aeroblast? And my opponent, maybe they didn't quite realize how much energy Claude had, but unfortunately they don't end up getting to throw their Aeroblast. In comes Galvantula, and they will resign the match. Hopping into the next match, we get a Dream Lead, Hydreigon into Mightyena. My opponent safe switches into a Steelix. And based on the fact that it's Mightyena and Steelix, you probably already know the third. The third is going to be a Wigglytuff. So it was very important that I went Quagsire into the Mightyena and not Clodsire, because Clodsire will be able to absolutely feast on that Wigglytuff at the end game. In comes Shadow Mightyena, look at the sucker punches go. I will get to the Aqua Tail, and if they don't respect this, they're going to lose almost their entire health bar. They are now very, very low. In comes Hydreigon, answered with the Wigglytuff. There's the Clodsire, and that's one of the fastest Jungle Cup games you'll ever see. Speaking of fast Jungle Cup games, leading Hydreigon into Wigglytuff, this feels like Wigglytuff's revenge from the game prior. Wigglytuff going to get outpaced here. Wigglytuff, even with the rework to Charm, still not a particularly fast Pokemon. Wigglytuff farms up to the Icy Wind, and it's almost a guarantee that they're going for it. I'm going to be shielding. The Water Guns, even at -1, do still add up quite a bit, and that's one of the nice things about Water Gun. It just offers so much fast move pressure. Aqua Tail number 2 is going to be shielded. Can I make a third? No, I cannot. No damage registration error for me, and I will get farmed down. In comes Clodsire. I'm expecting them to throw an Icy Wind and then pivot out, since they should have 2 better answers in the back, but it appears they do not. They think they can win off of alignment. They're going to go for yet another Icy Wind. I've sacrificed almost the entire Claude. I have to hope that Hydreigon can sweep. I'm at -2, so I will have to switch no matter what they bring in. It's going to be a Ufisk. I send in Hydreigon, and it's a Togekiss in the back. You've got to be kidding me. This is the one game where I wish that I had Flash Cannon, because I could have shielded, kept my Hydreigon at basically full health, Flash Cannon, knocked them out, and then been in a pretty good spot. But then again, there's been a lot of games that I won straight up because I had Dragon Pulse. So I think overall Dragon Pulse ended up being better, but unfortunately this one, I'm going to make it very close. I'm going to get to within a couple fast moves of energy on Clodsire, but unfortunately I am in Mud Bomb range. And that means that all they have to do is get the double up here, and they're guaranteed to win. I will shield, hoping against hope that somehow math is wrong and I can outpace, but unfortunately, I cannot. Mud Bomb takes the knockout, and we will lose a game to ABA Fairy. Hydreigon versus, oh my goodness, Shadow Sableye in the next game. This is an amazing lead. My opponent safe switches into Unova Stunfisk, and Stunfisk is just not an effective safe swap. Quag comes out, and we are about to see the meaning of pain from my opponent, as Quag is more than happy to absorb 2 Mud Bombs, throw an Aqua Tail, and then just Water Gun all the way down. Water Gun Quag, again, proving its value. It is just incredibly, incredibly versatile in this meta. Quag gets the full farm down, exiting with an Aqua Tail. I was trying to get to the Stone Edge, but I realized last second I'm not going to get there, so I should at least guarantee some damage with the Aqua Tail. In comes Hydreigon. It's Shadow Charge-a-Bug in the back, and this is the most RPS game ever. I bring in the Clodsire, they're going to top left, and we're on to the next match. Terrible lead in the next match, Hydreigon into Ice Fang Hippowdon. I save switch Quagsire, only to learn it's not Ice Fang. In comes Low Kicks, and this is not an answer to Quagsire. Normally, every Hippowdon that I've seen in this cup has been on Ice Fang. I just assumed it was Ice Fang and I bailed out. But I guess I should have stayed in and checked the fast move, because without it being Ice Fang, Hydreigon actually would have done well there. In comes Hydreigon, gonna look for a 1-shield farm down. I know Brutal Swing will not knock out the Hippowdon. So far, no one has shielded the Dragon Pulse, and I'm gonna exit with the Dragon Pulse loaded. Back in comes Hippowdon, and I'm going for it. Can we land another Dragon Pulse? Oh, we cannot. They put up the shield, and suddenly this could get a little bit scary. I shield Weather Ball, and they switch out, and they bring in Toxapex, and that's going to instantly lose them the game. My opponent really would have been better off staying in with the Hippowdon, because they had just shielded all of my energy. They were in an advantageous situation. But my guess is they weren't too familiar with the pacing on Hydreigon, got a little bit worried, pivoted out, and by switching out, they cost themselves the game. Because now, I have a ton of energy stored on the Hydreigon for later. Earthquake's gonna land, there's gonna be the switch into Hippowdon, and Earthquake should do just about their remaining health bar. If they somehow survive, I can combo with the Brutal Swing, or they're actually low enough that I can knock them out with Dragon Breath. Back in comes the Toxapex. They shielded the Dragon Pulse once, but they cannot escape it. Dragon Pulse number 2 takes down the Toxapex, and that's a good game. Hopping into the final match, leading Hydreigon into Shadow Scizor. This is a matchup where Guzzlord would be better, as Guzzlord wins the 2s, Hydreigon does not. Hydreigon lands a Brutal Swing, that's big damage, and my opponent they're stuck throwing resisted moves into Hydreigon. They go for the Night Slash, it does not knock out, and Hydreigon exits with some energy. In comes Furret, and Furret does not knock out with 2 Sucker Punches, so I'm able to hang on and make the Brutal Swing. Now out comes Clodsire, and I'm feeling pretty good about where I'm at in the match. I was able to neutralize the Scizor, which would have been a really annoying Pokemon for Clodsire, and the Furret is in a range where I should be able to knock them out with the Stone Edge. So they're going to fire off yet another Swift, and now I can farm up until just shy of 100 energy and look to threaten a shield or just knock out the Furret. Stone Edge is going to land, taking the KO. In the back is Altaria, and I imagine this should just be game over. Altaria has to shield up the Stone Edge, and I can send in the Water Gun Quagsire. I know the Water Gun damage will be very valuable here, as Water Guns will allow me to farm them into Stone Edge range. However, the energy head start on the Altaria does worry me a little bit. This is my first day playing with the Water Gun Quagsire, so I'm not super familiar with its pacing. I felt like baiting was a lose con, so I end up shielding, and now from here, I just have to let this go and try and win with the Claude. But I make a misplay, I shield, and this could cost me because I'm getting outpaced. I should have recognized they had too much energy and just let the Quagsire go. Now it's up to Clodsire, we need the Stone Edge, and we don't get there. They make the Sky Attack, and that's gonna cost us. Or will it? The rank 5 Quagsire bailing out my misplay, surviving, taking the knockout, and securing the win. I really had zero expectations for this team, which I guess makes it all the more funny that this team ended up going exceedingly positive. Back-to-back 4-1s in the 3,000 ELO range to get me back above 3,100, which should be within the top 250 battlers in the world. Even though Hydreigon is the star of the show, it is obviously the Pokemon that is on the thumbnail. The MVP was absolutely the Water Gun Shadow Quagsire. Water Gun Shadow Quagsire is an absolute terror in this meta. It offers incredible neutral play, even against something like Altaria. Being able to actually have fast move pressure and farm it into Stone Edge range is incredibly nice, and I think it really carried. Hydreigon definitely had its moments. Taking out that Guzzlord in one hit, landing those Dragon Pulses left and right. Hydreigon definitely proved itself to be like a pretty viable spice pick, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's a spice pick. Whereas the Water Gun Shadow Quagsire, I think is just hard meta. I think that's what people should be running. Now, if you wanted to potentially adapt this team to make a more meta version of it, obviously you could try something like a Guzzlord lead or a Zweilous lead. I might lean in this meta a bit more towards Guzzlord, just because Guzzlord does have a better matchup into Scizor, and Scizor is a very real Pokemon in this meta. So if you're wanting to try the team, I would probably recommend that. Hydreigon was a lot of fun, but it's definitely on the spicier side of things. And I know in this final month of the season, a lot of people are trying to make those last-second legend pushes. So regardless of what you run today, I highly recommend put Water Gun Shadow Quagsire on the team, because I'm pretty confident the wins are going to start rolling in. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching content like this, please do consider leaving a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.